Below the Bar podcast is not meant to be taken as legal advice. It is purely used for entertainment purposes. Corbin and I are not attorneys. In fact, we haven't even graduated law school yet.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate. That's scary. So if you have any legal concerns, please, I urge you guys to seek an actual attorney. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this episode, and that's all I have to say. Paige and I've been watching X-Files.
Okay.
And it's I don't know if you've watched it. I know
I've seen it.
Yeah.
But
it's good. It's a nostalgia trip. But what kills me, and I never realized this, and maybe this is like supposed to be present in the show, but you have Mulder and Scully. They're the two. Yeah. So Mulder will always be like, hey, you know, there's this strange phenomenon happening, and I think it's aliens, right?
Okay.
And every freaking time we're 20 episodes in, and every time Scully's like, Mulder, you're nuts. That's insane. There's no way. And she's so skeptical, but every time Mulder's right.
It's always aliens.
Like, would you not at some point just be like, this guy knows what he's talking about?
He's like, I think it's aliens. And it's like, you're right.
Like, you're right. Let's figure this out.
I bet it is.
She's always like on the fence. I don't know.
It's like, I've proven you wrong time and time
20
again.
times so far, and I'm assuming every episode here on out, too.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
It seems like they have a good thing going.
You see this new show, X-Files?
They weren't going to deviate from it.
Hey guys, welcome to Below the Bar podcast. My name is Drew, and we got...
Corbin, how's it going, guys?
Of course, we got Corbin. And always Corbin.
Just you and me.
Yep, that's it.
You know, until, 2 weeks?
Yeah, guys, we have some pretty cool things coming down the road here, so...
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We have at least one guest speaker signed up, and I believe we're in talks with another one, which is really cool, especially for how early on in the podcast we are.
Yeah, I mean, we just decided to start this thing, you know, just as something fun to do, and, you know, I'm just glad that anybody's listening to it, and now we have people, you know, wanting to...
Yeah, especially reaching
collab.
out to us,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool, because we've talked about how we want to eventually reach out to people, and I just think it's really cool that it's already happening.
Yeah, looking forward to it, but, so...
I was actually just watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was a podcast, and the one guy stopped and he was like, you know, in October we'll have been doing this for 4 years, and they had like a little like memory trip, and I was like, I looked at Carol and I was like, that's gonna be me and Drew in 4 years.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're gonna be we can all call ourselves either Esquire or what's the title for a podcaster? Podcaster.
Loser.
I think that's it.
We could be Esquires or losers.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything exciting going on in your life?
Yeah, dude. Yesterday I went to go. I think I was going to pick up food, and I was walking out to my car, and it's dusk. The sun's setting, so it was like a little dark out. And I hear Mister, and I look, and there's this like older man, right?
Okay.
And he's just looking at me, and he goes, "You have chickens." I was like,
you do?
I was like, no, I guess I said that more as a statement. He was asking me but the way he said it, he was like, do you have chickens? And I was like, no. Nope.
Not on me.
Nope. No. What if I just like reached into my pocket? I was like, ooh. Then he's like, well, I heard somebody around here has chickens and there's a rooster on the loose and I want to take it.
And I want to take it.
Which I should have taken that moment to inform him about finder's law.
You should have.
And like lost, misplaced, or abandoned property.
What's it considered when property runs away?
Probably lost, I guess. Or I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Misplaced.
Yeah. No, because you would have had to have intentionally put it. So no, it's definitely lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. When property runs away. Dude, my wallet just ran away.
Yeah, we're gonna have to create a new law.
Its own category. But yeah. That was just I was not expecting that. Just, hey, from the darkness. Hey, you have chickens. No.
Nope.
No. I wish. Dude, I wish I had chickens.
I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm from Clarion, and most of the time when I go home, there's at least one point in my trip home where I have to stop to let chickens or some animal cross the road. But it's been chickens quite often, which is strange.
Clarion sounds like some fantastical world where there's just like it sounds very like rustic and
yeah, I don't know if fantastical is a great term for it. It's not like I like Clarion, don't get me wrong. I don't think everybody dreams of escaping away to Clarion.
No, I don't mean that. It just seems very like woodsy. Like I could picture driving down the main drag into Clarion, if that's a thing, and there's like a man with a raccoon skin hat riding a deer with like all the animals of the forest behind. He's playing a pan flute, and you have to stop and wait for him to cross before you can. Like that's what I think of when I think of Clarion.
Oh yeah, that's what's his name, Mr. Gertie down the road.
Oh, Mr. Gertie with the pan flute. Yeah.
Mr. Gertie's just always down the street.
Just pan fluting and...
No, but there were some interesting people in Clarion. I'm not going to talk about any of them just because they're very identifiable.
Okay. But whoever you are, we know you exist, and
we do.
We like what you're doing.
And we're coming for you.
We're coming for you. All right, so we want to get into these cases here? Or
yeah, I think we should. Yeah, there's nothing really too exciting going on in my life. Just kind of... I had some random person honk at me the other day. They honked and waved like they knew me, but I know two people around my apartment complex, and neither of them drive a jacked up truck. So
yeah,
I was pretty certain it wasn't them.
I got pulled over this morning. And
did you?
Yeah. I was like 8 a.m. I went to go get... Paige was like, "Can you get me a hot chocolate?" That's what she sounds like.
I love that Paige is always 80 years old.
Yeah. So Paige was like, "Can you give me a hot chocolate?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I go get her a hot chocolate, and then I get myself a coffee as per usual. And I'm driving back, and this cop, I see him like 50 feet behind me. His lights were off, but for some reason I just knew. I was like, this guy's he's gonna pull me over. And he did.
Damn.
So I pulled over, and he's like, you ran that red light back there. And I'm like, no, I didn't. No. But here's the thing. You're coming out of Foster on the Steuben.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's immediately a light. And it's always green when you make the turn. But it immediately goes yellow-red, like in 0.5 seconds. Yeah. So, and I usually go through it when it's yellow. And he just happened to be sitting there when I did that. And he ended up just giving me a warning. But I started, like, when he first approached me, I was, like, thinking, like, I'm going to argue this with this dude.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he's not going to be sympathetic towards that. So, like, you got me. All right.
Yeah, like, he caught me.
Yeah.
How many times have you been pulled over, if you don't mind sharing?
When I first got my license, like when I was like 16, 17, I'd say in the first like 3 years of having my license, maybe 3 times.
Okay.
And then this was probably the first time in a few years.
Yeah, I haven't been pulled over in a while, but yeah, when I was younger, I used to get pulled over constantly. Like I think I've been pulled over 6 or 7 times, but like all of them within the like first several years of my license, and always for speeding, guys. But the like 4th or 5th time I got pulled over, they were like, we're just gonna give you a warning, and I was like, you looked up my history, correct?
Don't tell them that.
You saw that 2 months ago I got pulled over.
So that 2 months ago you found me with a body in my trunk? You're gonna...
But they let me go with a warning, and I was just like, all right, that's strange. Just on your 5th time getting pulled over, they're like, Yeah,
they're like, this got repeat offender. I mean, we can't get him every time.
Right.
Just let him go.
Give him a break this time.
But we got a lot to talk about here, so let's dig in. You want to go first?
I can go first. All right. Yeah, so I think this case is going to hit home, especially to you, because I know how much you really like Bud Light.
Oh, I love
It's your favorite beer. And This case is Overton v. Anheuser-Busch. It's from 1994 in Michigan.
Okay. I've never heard of this. Okay.
It's an interesting one. So basically what happened was Overton sued Anheuser-Busch, claiming that they had violated provisions of Michigan's Pricing and Advertising Act by placing before the public advertisements for its products that contain statements or representations which are untrue, deceptive, and or misleading. So Overton claimed that as a result of these advertisements, the general public was led to consume the defendant's product, which the defendant knew was dangerous and likely to cause serious health problems, including addiction and death. So to prove that they did this, he used an advertisement.
Death is a serious health condition.
It is, yeah. You don't want to get death.
Yeah. You don't want to contract death.
It just goes downhill from there. Or maybe uphill, depending on what you believe. Or how you acted in life.
Right.
So he used a Bud Light advertisement, which featured Bud Light as the source of fantasies involving tropical settings and beautiful women coming to life.
Oh, were they...
So they were commercials that just depicted like the average man drinking Bud Light on a beach surrounded by beautiful women.
Yeah.
And so his first claim was that these advertisements were deceptive because he drank Bud Light and he did not get surrounded by tropical settings or beautiful women.
That's like eating a gusher and being like, "Well, my head didn't turn into fruit."
Right. What's going Again, like it's these crazy scenarios with like just these things that everybody knows is not going to happen. And let me just say, Drew, your favorite beer is Bud Light. I think everybody knows that if your favorite beer is Bud Light, you're never going to be surrounded by beautiful women on a beach.
No, every time I open a Bud Light, I hear in the corner, I'll hear like, "Hey, sugar, how you doing?" That's typically
like the smoke rolls in. And yeah.
I'm in my kitchen alone. I crack one. "Oh, hey, sugar." Whoa.
Just out like through your screen door.
"Helen, how'd you get in here?"
Right. What's her name? Gertie.
Gertie. Yeah, Betty Goiter.
Betty Goiter. Yeah, that's Mr. Gertie is from Clarion. But yeah, so he basically was saying that these were deceptive because the general public would drink these beers and they were never surrounded by beautiful women or in tropical settings. So the court basically says that while the Price and Advertising Act prohibits those things, that the scene and the women in these were just puffery.
Yeah.
No one should expect that drinking Bud Light.
What did he think was he was in his kitchen, he was going to open one, and then his kitchen was just going to transform into Aruba?
I guess so. He cracks it open and just you feel the breeze roll.
A seagull shits on his head. He's like, "I'm in heaven."
He's like, "That's great." But yeah, so yeah, the court says that this is puffery, which is allowed in advertisements. But he uses another claim to show that it's deceptive and misleading because it portrays Bud Light in a positive way without reference to the inherent dangers of drinking Bud Light. And the court, again, holds that Anheuser-Busch has no duty. He was arguing that they didn't warn in their commercials. It wasn't like, "You'll be surrounded by beautiful women and the beach, but you're going to catch death."
Yeah, well, the only real consequence of drinking Bud Light that you really have to worry about is Helen sneaking into your house.
Right. And it didn't say anything about Helen in the advertisement. It showed beautiful women on the beach. Didn't say you're going to catch death or meet Helen.
That's fair.
So he basically was saying that they had a duty to warn about Helen and death and all of these negative side effects to drinking Bud Light other than the positive ones of beautiful women on a beach. So the court held that Anheuser-Busch had no duty under the Price and Advertisement Act or common law to disclose their dangers because it's common knowledge to the public that drinking beer has negative side effects.
Yeah.
Everybody's drank Bud Light and met Helen in their life.
Yes.
So they don't need to warn about it.
No.
If you drink Bud Light and it's your favorite beer, you should know about Helen and catching death.
Those are the two prime things you have to...
It wasn't in tiny writing or anything like that on the commercial. And I have a feeling it probably was, and he just wasn't focused on it.
Yeah.
Because he was dreaming of beautiful women at the beach.
Yeah, he's like, "Whoa, I can have all that."
Yeah.
Fine print,
no
get out.
and no negative side effects.
Yeah.
And it wasn't true. It clearly he didn't catch death.
He's alive to bring the lawsuit.
Yeah. So that's really the end of the case. I just thought it was funny. He sued for $10,000 and he lost. And yeah, he sued for $10,000 because he didn't get surrounded by beautiful women in the beach. And again, just blows my mind that people think they're gonna win these types of suits.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault him for trying. I guess. I mean, I guess that's if you want to look at it in a positive light. I mean, the dude has drive.
I mean, yeah. The worst thing that happens is he loses and gets nothing. Best thing that happens is he wins and
$10,000. Can you imagine getting $10,000 and they're like, how?
Then you could get surrounded by beautiful women and beaches.
Yeah, with 10 G's. Oh man, I'd carry it around in a briefcase, all in $1 bills.
I also love that was his price tag. He was like, "How much do you think people that are surrounded by beautiful women on the beach have?" And he was like,
10,000.
10,000 is probably enough.
Wait, what year was this case?
1994.
Okay, so I mean,
so like with inflation, $10,000 now would probably be 10 mil.
Yeah, that's a proper inflation equation there. Yeah.
But yeah, so his price tag, his goal in life is that $10,000 mark, and he will have the beach and the beautiful women, and his life will be set.
Yeah, you imagine that, man.
And he lost because the court just ruled for Anheuser-Busch, and I think that's messed up. He had a dream. Dude, and they took it away from him.
The court has no chill, man. They were just like ripping this guy. Yeah, all he wanted was 10 G's and
the court already has $10,000.
I mean, dude, just give him $10,000. I mean, come on, what is that? In the grand scheme of things, what is $10,000?
Right,
for someone, I mean,
enough to get a beach
for Anheuser-Busch. That's pennies, man.
Pennies.
Give this dude $10,000.
Right.
All right,
just sell it.
Yeah,
come on, and send him to the beach.
Yeah, send him to the beach. Send him to the beach. Give him a couple young ladies to, because that's apparently what he's out for.
I guess that was his goal. And he lost, but worth a shot, I guess.
He tried.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's my case. I thought it was strange.
Yeah. No, I like that was a good one. I never heard of that one. I like that.
But so yeah, if you want to break into yours, if you want to,
I'll break into something. All right, what's the craziest party? I'll start with this. What's the craziest party you've ever been to? You don't have to get into what's the word I'm looking for? Incriminate yourself.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. If you want to, you can.
Right. So I just name everybody and just be like, so we were doing all these hard drugs. Craziest party I've ever been to. I don't know if I would say it was the craziest party, but just a party that got out of hand.
Yeah.
Is whenever I was in college.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. When I was in college, my roommates and I would throw parties quite often, and we had this one party that ended up, I don't know if you remember Yik Yak.
Yeah.
It was briefly really popular.
Yes, I forgot
about
that.
So that was around the time that I was a junior or senior in college. And so when we would have parties, people would just post it on Yik Yak. Mm-hmm. And we would have people designated to just sit in the living room and just downvote them so that they got removed.
Yeah.
But one day, I don't even know how many people showed up, but the first floor was packed and the basement was packed. Damn. And then there were people just on our lawn. Yeah. Just because people couldn't fit in our house anymore. And next thing you know, 4 cop cars roll up. And we went out and we talked to the police. They were like, you guys have to kick everybody out of here. And so we're like, all right. And they literally looked at us and they were like, but you need to kick them out and tell them to go down the street before they cross the road. Because if they cross the road in front of your house and get hit by a car, it's going to come back onto you guys for having this party.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, wow, you just got really serious really quick. Literally, Mercier's just 30 steps away.
You look down the road, they have a cop revving his engine on the street. He's like, I'm good.
He's like, if anybody crosses the street, But yeah, and that was bad. It was crazy. It took forever to get everybody out of there.
Yeah.
And actually, after that, I forget what time it was. It was probably 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm upstairs, I'm trying to fall asleep, and I hear something downstairs. So I text my roommates who their bedrooms are on the first floor. I'm like, you guys hear something? And no one else responds except for one kid. He was like, yeah. And I was like, was it you? And he was like, no, I think it came from the basement. I was like, all right. So him and I go down into the basement, and there's just one kid just standing facing a corner.
Blair Witch in it.
And
jeez.
I forget what his name was, but
man.
we went down, and I'm going to say his name was Steve. We went down, and we were like,
Steve.
Yo, Steve, like, what are you doing here? And he turned around, and he's hammered. And he's just like, I'm just here for the party. And we were like, yo, we kicked everybody out like an hour and a half ago.
You're looking into a corner as if you're staring into the face of God, Steve.
I was like, we kicked everybody out like an hour and a half ago. Like, you got to go. And he was just like, no, I'm just here having a good time.
Yeah.
And I was like,
are you?
I was like, nah, man, like, you got to go. Like, everybody's gone. You're not having a good time. You're staring at a wall. So, I mean, he left. But that's probably the strangest story.
That's good. I never really drank growing up. I know like a lot of people started drinking early. I, honest to God, like all through high school, I smoked cigarettes, which thank God I quit doing that, when I was like 23, probably a little earlier, but I never drank or like did anything.
Yeah, I didn't start drinking until college.
Yeah.
Like maybe once prior, but not really.
I mean, I'm 31 now. I still don't like to drink.
Yeah, and if my parents are listening, I don't drink.
So never
ever.
Yeah. Like I'll have a drink here or there, but like I just don't. I don't know. I don't like it. But
anyway.
I
feel that. I don't like feeling like shit the next day.
Yeah. Or consuming 1,000 calories of alcohol.
Right.
Yeah. I'd rather. I don't know. That's neat. But anyway, I was at this. I'd still go to parties just to hang out and be social. So I was maybe like 18, 19, and I was at this party, and we're in this dude's basement. There's maybe like 30 people. Like there's a good amount of people.
All right.
And I'm sitting on this sofa with a couple other people, and we're just like watching everybody do their thing.
Yeah.
That sounded way weirder than we were just.
There was like 30 people, and we were just watching them do their thing.
I didn't mean for that to sound.
We were just sitting in the corner.
So these two guys start arguing something about a girl, and it was
classic.
Yeah, of course. You get teenage
probably
boys.
like a girl that wasn't interested in either of them.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So next thing you know, one of the dudes pulls a handgun out and just starts waving it in the air. And I've never, at that point, and even now, that's the only time in my life I've ever been somewhere where somebody pulled out a gun in like a threatening manner.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. But we're in the basement, and they're standing between me and the stairs. And I'm not about to just be like, hey, excuse me.
There's a gun, and I'm just going to sneak by you real quick.
All right, see you guys. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just like on this couch, like, what do I do? I've never been in this situation like this. And then the guy with the gun, like, there's this like bookcase with like beer bottles on it, and he like punches it, and they fall and they shatter everywhere, and he's waving this gun. So I took that opportunity to just like slip up the stairs, out the door, and I just like got the hell out of there. Like, I'm not sticking around.
I was hoping you were going to say you went behind him
and I just like put him in a chokehold, and everybody like applauded me.
You're a hero.
Yeah. No.
But no,
I ran away. So
classic Drew.
So this case kind of deals with a wild party that got out of hand. So this is Connolly v. Nicolette Hotel. This was a case from 1953, or in the 50s. The incident happened in 53. So there's a lot here. So we're going back to midnight on June 12th of the year 1953, and we have Connolly, who is walking with a friend after just having left the Nicolette Hotel. They were walking alongside the building, and as the two were walking, they saw two people approaching them from the opposite direction, and they start hearing like what sounds like explosions hitting the ground, like things hitting. They see things like falling out of the sky, hitting the ground, and making these loud like explosion like noises.
All right,
it's like, what is this? And then one of the people that's approaching them gets like hit in the shoulder with something, and they see that, and they're like, what is going on? So Connolly looks up in the sky, and this like mud-like substance comes and hits her right in her eye. All right, and she ends up losing her vision in her eye. Okay, so she gets struck in the face. Okay, and it was determined that this substance really could only be coming from the hotel because they were walking right along the hotel. And I don't know what kind of apocalyptic, what's the word I'm looking for? you have like locusts and
plagues,
yeah, like mud just falling out of the sky, you know. So they're like, this has to be coming from the hotel. So they go in, and well, first of all, she got hit so hard that her knees buckled, and her friend had to catch her. Like she got whacked in the eye with whatever this is.
Mud.
So her face goes numb. They go and they talk to the manager, the assistant manager of the hotel, and he tried to remove the substance, but you know, again, she ended up losing her eye. So what the hell happened here? So during
right, yeah, I'm trying to think of like what it could be, and the only thing I can think of is shit.
Was not shit, but that would be
disgusting.
Hilarious and tragic. Yeah. Could you imagine? How'd you lose your sight, Connolly?
Someone was at a party and threw shit out the window.
In my eye. Yeah. So, all right. So during this time, the 1953 National Junior Chamber of Commerce Convention was occupying a large portion of this hotel. So during the preceding days, hotel staff, including the same assistant manager, the night engineer, this garage employee, they had all been made aware of a variety of objects that were falling from the hotel as a result of this convention, such as beer and liquor bottles and bags of water and ice cubes and even window screens. Like they were just...
So the hotel was on a beach with a bunch of beautiful women. I heard there was beer there.
Bud Light. It was all Bud Light exclusively. So Connolly sues the convention, but after testimony was heard, the court directed a verdict in the convention's favor. However, the Nicolette Hotel was ruled against to the tune of $30,000, okay, for breaching this duty of care, essentially. Yeah. Nicolette, the hotel ends up moving for a judgment, notwithstanding the verdict. You know, they were ruled against in the tune of $30,000. Arguing that there was no way to know that this mud-like substance came from the hotel. So the trial court ends up granting this motion, and Connolly appeals. So if the substance did come from the hotel, can the hotel be liable for negligence because they failed to control their guests that were here for this convention? Well, we're later going to find out yes. So if you're a hotel manager out there, make sure your guests are being, you know, cool.
Just a quick side note real quick, just because we're talking about having to control your guests. I went to like alumni weekend for Mercyhurst one time, and a bunch of my friends and we were going to get a hotel room. And so we're checking into our hotel room, and we have to sign this waiver. And on the waiver, it says like, you're not allowed to bring livestock into the hotel.
Damn, man.
And I looked at the one behind the desk. I was like, what happened? Yeah. And she was like, what? And I was like, it says I have to sign that I'm not going to bring livestock in here, which means that somebody has brought livestock in here before. She was like, I don't know what happened. I just know I have to have you sign it. And I was like, that's fair. Have a good night.
That's kind of relevant, though, to you'll hear.
Ooh, so spicy.
Yeah. Keep livestock
that's
in
where
mind.
That's where my thing came from.
So the court on appeal ends up reversing this judgment, notwithstanding the verdict, because the hotel owed pedestrians such as Connolly a duty of care to prevent them from being injured by their guests. So how do we get here? Well, there's a couple general rules I'll run through, and these are taken straight from the case. The failure of a hotel owner and operator to take reasonable precautions to eliminate or prevent conditions of which he or she should be aware and which might reasonably be expected to be dangerous to the public may constitute negligence. Also, we have it is generally agreed that a hotel owner or innkeeper, it's very British,
innkeeper,
owes a duty to the public to protect it against foreseeable risk of danger attendant upon the maintenance and operation of his property. So because this was an appeal from the grant of a judgment notwithstanding the verdict, the reviewing court was looking at the evidence, all of the evidence, in a light most favorable to the verdict. So the court pointed out additional facts at this point. Okay. And we're getting into the livestock thing. So here's a couple things that were going on with this convention. So during this convention, there was a mule that was stabled in the lobby.
Okay.
What? Okay. There was an alligator on the 4th floor, just roaming about. There were gunshots in the lobby. There were broken bottles on the sidewalk near the hotel that were so extensive they required twice a day cleaning. Okay. And numerous floors were damaged and required maintenance, and there was just generally a ton of damage to the hotel. I mean, like, if you read through the case, there was literally almost an entire page of just damage to the hotel.
Yeah, is this the Cecil Hotel or like what's going on in this hotel?
What kind of party is this?
Right,
I'm going. Yeah, right, I'll be there. An alligator, gunshots in the lobby. Count me in, man. That's living life. So the general manager issued a statement the day before the incident. He was acknowledging all of these occurrences in the hotel, so he was aware that just craziness was happening.
Yeah,
and I want to know why they didn't get kicked out like that.
Right, they were just like, just please leave the alligator alone. Like, have a good night. Just
relax. I mean, like that's insane. The most generous hotel owners or managers ever,
right?
Just to let this continue happening. So basically, the plaintiff is arguing that the acts that caused her injury were foreseeable by the hotel, and that as such, the hotel was negligent when they failed to meet their duty of care in preventing the injury. That sounds very, yeah. The hotel was being occupied by 4,000 young men due to this convention. So 4,000.
The worst.
The worst. Who were described as work hard, play hard type folks. And additionally, there were...
My favorite type of people.
Yeah. Tell me something interesting about you. Well, I work hard and I play hard.
Work hard, play harder. Shut up.
So the hotel was made aware pretty early on. Oh, there were free alcoholic beverages provided for the convention too. So they were like,
I'm really going.
People. Yeah. So the hotel was made aware pretty early on that there was a lot of disturbances happening as a result of this convention. The hotel even took measures that involved replacing certain items in the room with less dangerous objects because they were aware of things being thrown from the windows.
They took the alligator out and just put like one of those alligator pool floaties.
And no one noticed because they were all too ripped on Bud Light. So the manager of the hotel even stated after Connolly was struck in the eye, he goes, this is a quote from the hotel manager. Connolly comes in, oh, my eye. And he goes, well, here's another one of those incidents. I'll be glad when this convention's over. So like, they knew.
Well, happened again.
So... here's some court quotes. There's a few here, but I thought they were just really, I mean, like I couldn't put it any better than the court put it here. So the court says, it is apparent from the record that after the hotel management became aware of the disorderly character of the convention, it took no further affirmative action to protect the interests of the public. We are of the view that once it became apparent to the defendants that the preliminary precautions which had been taken were not sufficient to protect the public from foreseeable risks which might arise from the disorderly character of the convention, the hotel had an affirmative duty to take further precautions to protect the public. So basically, their precautions weren't enough. They had a duty to do more.
Right.
Without undertaking to state precisely what precautions should have been taken, we think that the evidence of the defendant's failure to hire additional guards or secure additional police protection or to appeal to reasonable officers of the convention presented a fact in question as to whether the defendants exercised due care within the circumstances. So the argument may well be advanced that by turning the other cheek, to use an expression of the hotel's managing director, apparently he said, we're just turning the other cheek. We're not going to, the defendants acquiesced in the misuse of their property and became, for all purposes, participants in such misuse. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Defendants they're arguing there was no liability because also they're saying this is the hotel. They're like, hey, Connolly was not an invitee or a patron of the hotel, so we owed no duty to her. We cannot be liable for these injuries. But there was a duty on the part of the defendants to members of the public at large to prevent them from injury by forces set in motion as a result of the use which the defendants permitted to be made of their property.
Right. Yeah. And I think if it was like a one-off scenario where she happened to be walking by the one time somebody threw something out a window, it would have been found differently.
But all of this evidence here's another one of these incidences where people just getting like mud in the eye,
and there were gunshots.
Come on, guys. So ultimately, the question as to where the mud-like substance came from, whether the act that caused Connolly's injury was within the zone of foreseeability by the hotel. These were things for a jury to decide, and as such, the appellate court reversed the lower court's grant for judgment, notwithstanding the verdict. So really, the takeaway of this case is that, if you're a hotel owner, or I guess I'll just put it this way more generally, that one may be held liable for, injuries that were caused by acts of a third party, such as the convention, if that third party was within the defendant's control to a degree such as, a hotel guest, if such injury was reasonably foreseeable.
Right.
So
clearly.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I got for that case. I mean, that one.
So it never said like what hit her in the eye?
They just described it as a mud-like substance.
I'm like pretty sure. There was a donkey.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. They said they tried to say I think it was dirt, but I don't think that was dirt.
It was. If it was dirt, then it would just be, and it was wet. It would just be mud.
Yeah,
not a mud-like substance.
Right. Yeah.
So it was shit.
For sure, 100%. We're going with that just because that makes for a better story.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about all I have too. I mean, I guess if we can leave our listeners with anything, it's don't drink Bud Light and expect to be on a beach surrounded by beautiful women. Or
do drink Bud Light and have, keep your eyes peeled for
flying shit. Yeah.
What if Helen was actually the one throwing?
It probably was. Yeah. She was taking a smoke break on the roof. Well, gotta go somewhere.
Man, we came full circle with that one.
They all connect.
Yeah. Well,
that's how the laws work.
Big picture, people. Well, that's all we have. So, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Stitcher app, TalkShoe, Facebook.
You got it.
And if you liked this episode, please like and subscribe and tell your friends about us because we're really trying to, move this thing forward. And stay tuned because we, as we said, have some exciting things coming for you guys.
And we're funny.
We are funny, man. We're good.
Yeah.
I like us.
But yeah, other than that, guys, have a good week.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next Wednesday.